Okay guys, I think it's time so we can start the session now. So first and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for joining in today. Today we have a very interesting session planned for you. The title of today's session is Past, Present and Future of Display Advertising. As all of you must have guessed, it's all about display advertising today in today's session. So we will discuss about the evolution of display marketing and how to make effective use of so-called banner ads for not just branding but also for achieving performance goals. To lead this session, we have with us KARTHIKEYAN HALDURAI. KARTHIKEYAN is a psychology graduate and works with Google for just over 8 years now. KARTHIKEYAN is helping teams implement and optimize large AdWord accounts for their display as well as video advertising. I don't think we can get a better person to talk on this subject. Welcome, KARTHIKEYAN. So without taking any further time, now I would like to hand over the session to KARTHIKEYAN. For those of you who have joined in for the first time, let me just set the logistics. All of you are muted by default, so during the session, if you have any question, just type it down in the question panel. And KARTHIKEYAN, if you want, you can take up these questions in between during the session also. Or once the presentation is over, we'll take up all the questions in chronological order. So that's it from my side. KARTHIKEYAN, you can start the session.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. I'm just super excited to this session. I've done a lot of in-person training, but this is my first webinar. So please forgive me if I'm going too fast or too slow, and let me know if you want me to repeat something through the Q&A section. But before we begin, I just want to understand the audience a little bit. If you've already been working on display advertising, could you just type yes in the Q&A window so I know how many of you have actually been working on display advertising? Okay. That's quite a lot of you. Okay, for those of you who have not worked on display advertising, if you had to assess your display skills as basic, intermediate, and advanced, can you say where would you fall so that I can cater the session according to that? Okay, perfect. So for those of you who already know display,
Create a small poll.
I think we're good just to understand what audience we're talking for, because I don't want it to be something repetitive or things that go overhead. All right, so good. Thank you so much. Welcome to the session. So I'm just going to quickly dwell on what display advertising is, give you a good overview in between, tell you a few stories if I can from my experience on what works, what doesn't work. I'm trying to keep it as away from Google as I can and just talk generally about display advertising. But if you have any questions about AdWords, we can take that after the first 30 minutes where I'm trying to cover the content. Right. So I don't know, a lot of you may not be aware, or some of you could know it, but this is the first banner ad. It went live in 1994. That's exactly 20 years ago. So I'm probably a 10-year-old kid back then. And it's exciting times, because if you look at what the current capacity of display ad building, or what we're capable of serving through display ads, it's just unbelievable. So this is just a sample ad, a YouTube masthead as we call it, where it's a banner ad which can expand if you click over it or hover over it, and then when you expand, it's a video that you can play inside it, and then you can do a full screen view of it. Just look at the richness of the experience there exists today, right? And combine that with the ability to target the audience and really reach out to the people that you need the most, which I think is the biggest power that internet has over any other type of advertising. Just the data and the ability to narrow down on exactly the audience that you need. And there's no reason why we all should not be excited about display advertising. The one quote that I love about display advertising is that display is what keeps the internet free, if you think of it. Otherwise, it's just a question of you having to pay for every single content that's out there, like a newspaper subscription where you have to pay a certain amount every month to access whatever it's available. It's display that almost keeps the internet free. So that's why I am excited to work on display advertising. Plus, the creative ability is getting better and better by the day, and so is the complexity. So, just talking a little with the evolution. Initially, it was just one-on-one buy. So imagine a world where there are a few advertisers who want to show their ads to few publishers who are out there. You could just go walk in person or have a discussion over and say, hey, listen, I want to place this small ad on your website. What would be the best place to place the ad? How long do you think I can place the ad? How much are you going to charge? The publisher can charge any amount that they like, depending on the number of audience they have and how valuable they see that inventory is, or depending on the size of the inventory. And all of that looked okay until it was manageable. But imagine a case where you have about 1,000 publishers page on which you as an advertiser want to put your ad, and it just becomes difficult to have 1,000 conversations going and figuring out where your ads are showing or how you want your ads to show or which ads you want to show where. And that's the beginning of the evolution of what we call an ad network, which is like a broker who plays in between a publisher who can allow people to serve ads and an advertiser who wants to serve ads. So what they do as a network is just collect all the publishers, make them put a small snippet of code on their website wherever they want their ads to appear, and advertisers can create an account with the networks and immediately start serving ads across all of those 1,000 or slowly 10,000 or then became millions of sites, which now are known as network. There are a lot of popular network, and Google's network is Google Display Network. So if you want to be a part of a display network as a publisher, you have to create an AdSense account and become a partner. And if you want to advertise on the Google Display Network, then you have to create an Adwords account and start showing your ads on the display network. So that's how networks came into evolution. But what happened slowly in the last 4 or 5 years is there came this world of networks became very popular, they became profitable, and therefore a lot of network providers started coming in. And we're talking about hundreds of networks that evolved. And again, the same was right. Hundreds of publishers or hundreds of networks. It's still difficult for you as an advertiser to serve ads across all of these networks. So there had to be a way to consolidate all these networks and other publishers who were not a part of network, so that you can have one place where you can buy the ads, and that's the beginning of an ad exchange. You can think of an ad exchange as a superset of some of the networks that are out there, and also other publishers who are not a part of the network who partner with the ad exchange. And one of the things about ad exchanges is it's like you can think of it as a stock market where all the inventory is available or stocks are available, and anybody through a broker can go and get the inventory and show your ads there. It's very transparent. It's real time bidding. We'll come to those concepts later, but it's just much more easy. It's a very consolidated place where all the publisher inventory is available, and you can just go there and serve ads. Now, again, exchanges became profitable. A lot of people started buying ads. Were buying ads from these exchanges, and then what happened is there were these multiple ad exchanges that came into illusion. It's a similar trend, right? Once you have multiple exchanges, again, as an advertiser, you have a problem. You can't manage all these multiple exchanges, so you need a way or interface through which you can buy across all these exchanges, and that is what we call as a demand side platform. Right? You can think of this as a broker who will negotiate deals between all the inventory that's available across almost all the exchanges and let you bid at one go. You can just serve your ads, target your audience, or target the inventory, and and you're good to go. And almost all the exchanges across the world are available for you through these bidders. You can see them as brokers who will get you the inventory that you need across the internet. So the reach that you're talking about through a demand side platform or a bidder is almost 96% of the internet, and you will be able to see the audience or one user on an average about easily 5 to 6 times a day. That's the user reach per person on an average that you can add to. So that's where we are today, from a very basic one-on-one trade today to almost being able to reach 96% of the internet through one UI. And that's the scope of the internet. Imagine overnight you can transform one of your advertisers or yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, to reach almost all of the internet through one platform. So that's the rough evolution. I know a lot of you may have questions on that, but don't worry. As we go through these, a lot of it will become clear for you. Now let's look at the other trend. This is the consumer trend, right? All of us know of the classic IDA model or the buying funnel, where you start by creating awareness, getting them interested, getting your customers interested in what you're selling or what service you're offering. And then you come under the consideration set where they're ready to buy, but they're considering which brand to buy or what type of products to buy in the range that you're offering, and eventually make that purchase. There's also a little bit of loyalty there, which is post-purchase engagement. The beauty about display advertising is you can influence a consumer across the entire funnel, one step at a time, right? And that's where it really starts becoming powerful, because you can either target an audience or you can target the page that they're on, the contextual buy versus audience buy, and then slowly bring in the awareness, then get them interested or inquisitive about what you're offering, then become a part of the consideration set. Be there when they are considering you, and also when you know they are ready to buy it, right? And when they're buying it, also make sure you're there with that audience which is ready to buy. The beauty about internet is that through some things as we call cookies or your tag-based targeting, you're able to actually follow them much closer than any other way of advertising. Right? But there's another trend that is a little bit concerning, and of late it's become a huge challenge for any online marketer is this multiple device proliferation. Right? Insane number of devices have started to come, insane sizes. Sometimes you don't know what is a phone, what is a tablet, who's using a phone, who's using a tablet. You don't know whether a tablet is a laptop or a desktop device, how is it being used. Am I using it on go, or am I using it at home? And that's the multi-screen world, as we call it. And as users or consumers keep switching and swapping between these devices, it's becoming increasingly difficult as marketers for us to reach them at every stage of the purchase funnel and at every time of the day, depending on what devices they are using. It's not that the purchase funnel is almost in the order. Things are moving extremely fast and things are going haphazard. At one stage we're considering buying, and then we're putting it off. We're going back to thinking, do we actually need this product, or should we think of it? And a lot of those, it's becoming more and more random with the way we are making our purchase decisions. And at very random times and at random places. We could be traveling in an auto and we are bored and we're deciding, should we buy that shoe that we thought of a week ago? On a mobile device, we are researching, actually come home and buy on a desktop device. And that multi-screen world is something that I really want you guys to be aware of, because if you look at your own behavior, at one point you probably just sat at home and let's say watched a video. But today you are at office and you're watching a video on your desktop machine, and on the way you you just have this one small feature in YouTube which is called watch later. You add that video to watch later because it's time for you to go home, and you're, let's say, on your way back home, riding on a bus or in a cab, and you open that video on your mobile phone, and you continue exactly from where you left that video. And let's say by halfway through your home, the battery runs out in your phone, right? And because it's already added in your watch later, you can go back home, open your tablet, and see exactly that video, exactly from the point where you left it. Now that's you using 3 different tablets and 3 different use cases to watch a video. Then imagine how many use cases exist today to make a purchase decision online. It just sums up and it goes out of control. And that is also something that is changing the way we are buying ads and we are serving ads on the internet. So that's just the challenge. But then what's beautiful about internet, like I said, is the ability to target. And it all begins with keyword targeting on the search, but on the display too, you have keyword contextual targeting or context-based targeting. Now, it's very critical for you to understand this, is because broadly any type of targeting on display advertising is either keyword-based or contextual-based. Is what is the content on the page and how do you match the content of the page? It's the what of the website versus audience buy, which has nothing to do with the content that exists, but who is the person who's viewing the content, right? That's the audience-based targeting. Now, anything that's audience-based is usually because we put a tag on that publisher site, or there exists a tag on that advertiser site, which we can then follow the user on that browser. I'm not sure if 100% of you would know how the cookie system works, but that's something that you should definitely. A lot of these cookies live in your computer's temp file. So if you want to see how many cookies are there, just go to your temp file and you'll know the number of cookies that have been dropped, right? And you can always clear your cookie and cache. So everything still lives inside your browser. The moment you go to another browser or another computer, that cookie does not apply to you anymore, right? So what I want to leave you with is, if you want to be successful for yourself or for your advertisers when you're doing display advertising, you should always have a mix of both contextual targeting and audience targeting. Now, there are multiple type of contextual targeting that we're talking about. The first and most important is keyword contextual targeting, followed by topic targeting, which is automatically categorizing certain set of websites as, let's say, auto or food or things like that. And then we have placement targeting, which is individual websites. And then you have the audience targeting, which is broken into 2 broad categories, which is first-party audience and third-party audience. The first-party audience is, of course, you putting a code on your website and collecting the audience by yourself. Only you can target that audience. The term that's used for this is retargeting or remarketing. Basically, you're collecting all the audiences who've come to your website anonymously, and then you can go after them on the internet as they browse through the inventory and show an ad from your website. So what this is, you already know that these particular users have come to your website, and you also have information on which page of your website have they visited, and therefore you can go back and target your ads to them. And that's the first party audience. Then there's also third party audience, which is a collection of audience through an individual player. For example, there's an audience provider called Bluekai, who will collect the internet audience across certain markets, and then they will allow you to target that audience. It could be audience who is interested in motorcycles, or audience who are interested in health and fitness. Anonymous cookies, you can target that audience, and most of this based on their browser behavior. We cookie them, we observe their trends across multiple publisher sites, and notice that this person goes to ESPN Cricinfo, goes to Star Sports, goes Times of India, maybe on the on the sports section, and therefore this person is a cricketer and interested in cricket or things like that. That kind of a derivation has happened, and then you say, okay, interested in cricket as a behavioral targeting. And there's also other new type of targeting that have come up which are much closer to offline advertising. If a lot of you are on offline, you have affinity targeting, which is let's say a person who is a travel enthusiast, which means he will have multiple traits, not just a person who's interested in traveling, probably a person who is also a frequent flyer, has traveled to a few destinations already. So we have more signals and more interests that come into it. Is a foodie and things like that, and combine it to what we call an affinity targeting. So there are basically two type of audience targeting. The first one is first party audience targeting, and the second one is third party. Somebody else collects and you can target that audience. So increasingly cookie based targeting is becoming extremely significant, and more people are investing on audience based targeting versus contextual, which used to be the bigger and better way to buy in the past. But again, we recommend that you use both to figure out what works best for yourself or for your client when you're doing your display advertising. Okay, there's one slide which did not load, but let's move on. It's fine. So that's pretty much the current state of advertising. There are a lot of issues around cookie-based targeting. Of course, it touches the line of privacy, but there are enough controls for you to not be allowed to target on cookies. Now, if you've gone to any of the websites recently, they are declaring that they are going to use your cookie for advertising. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but a lot of the premium publishers are explicitly declaring when you go the first time onto their website that, hey, we will be cooking you and we will be using that information to show advertising to you. We don't know which site it will go, but highly likely that cookies, right? Or else they will find another way to target the audience pretty soon. That's the current state of affair. Whenever you run a display campaign, please be sure to run it across contextual and display targeting. And again, like I said, I'm just going to quickly go back to the slide over here. As the clients move through different phases, there are different types of targeting that works for client and different ad formats that work for the client. Make sure that you use the right ad format and the right targeting type to be really able to drive a customer or a consumer through the entire funnel. For example, if you want to be showing this brand awareness, if you want somebody to be aware of your a product or service, the ideal ad type would be a video ad, so you connect emotionally with that audience, or even have a mobile, because we are using a mobile ad very frequently, a number of times in a day, and the more often you reach to that person, the more likely he's going to remember it top of the mind. Whereas if you're talking about a purchase, which is the lowest end of the funnel, you want to make sure that the audience in a day, and the more often you reach to that person, the more likely he's going to remember it top of the mind. Whereas if you're talking about a purchase, which is the lowest end of the funnel, you want to make sure that the audience has already come to your website, they have already seen a product, and the more often you reach to that person, the more likely he's going to remember it top of the mind. Whereas if you're talking about a purchase, which is the lowest end of the funnel, you want to make sure that the audience has already come to your website, they have already seen a product, and therefore you want them to come back and buy that product. So you have to make sure you use the right targeting type, and probably with a purchase, you want to use a dynamic ad which will automatically show them exactly that product that they saw on your website. So that's what we call as dynamic retargeting or dynamic remarketing. So you have to make sure that you use both. And when you build your campaigns or when you have these discussions with your advertisers or with your agency, you have to make it clear whether the money that you are investing is going in for awareness or for like we broadly classify it as for prospecting or for converting. If it's prospecting and collecting new users and things like that, go upper funnel, go as broad as you can, use interest categories, use broad topics that you want to target. For lower funnel, which is conversion, then you have to make sure that you are very narrowing down on your audience, which could be keyword contextual targeting or remarketing, along with text ads and display ads and dynamic ads. So that's something you should keep in mind when you're thinking of display advertising strategies. And with that, we can quickly jump into the future. And this is what is really, really exciting. So a lot of the things could be very new to you guys. So listen carefully. Happy to discuss this in the Q&A section. Programmatic is a word that will be used, is already being used and overused, if you ask me, and will be abused in the next 1 year or 2 years. Everybody will be talking about programmatic. So I'm just taking this opportunity to help you understand what it is and what value does it add to you as an advertiser or to a publisher. Why does a publisher need to be on programmatic buying, or why does an advertiser need to use programmatic buying? And then we'll talk a little bit about real-time bidding, which is at the heart of programmatic buying. And then we'll quickly touch some video advertising and mobile advertising trends, which will define pretty much the future of display advertising. So think of programmatic as just moving from manual to automatic, whether it is campaign building, whether it is campaign optimization, or whether it is billing, or whether it is even negotiating a deal with a publisher. All of the aspects that are today done manually by having a sales team or by having a separate billing person, all of that can be consolidated in one UI through one solution, and most of it can be automated. And that's what is called programmatic buying. Anything that is moving from manual to automatic would become programmatic. For example, today I'm giving you a Google example here. Today, if you want to, let's say, buy a YouTube homepage ad, which is called the masthead, at the moment you land, there's a huge ad on top on the homepage. If you want to buy that ad, you have to get in touch with the Google sales rep. They would get in touch with the media manager. Then you will have a deal on what is the amount you need to pay for 24 hours. Then you have to send an IO to Google. Google will manually review the IO, approve it. Then you have to send the creative. A particular day is blocked. The creative is uploaded by a creative team. And then eventually the creative goes live. Somebody has to ensure on the back end that the creative is traffic properly, your reporting metrics are coming through, and finally the creative metrics are coming through, and finally the creative and so the payment is taken care of. Now all of this looks pretty manual, but imagine a place where you could just get into a UI and say, hey, I want to buy this ad of yours or buy this particular inventory of yours, and send it to, let's say, Google. And Google looks at the deal that you've sent and said, okay, we will approve this provided you pay so much, and here is the deal ID for you to go ahead and take this ad for you. And that's it. There's a negotiation that happens. One deal ID is shared between Google and you, and pretty much all of the terms and conditions are there. Once the deal is approved, you automatically sync your ad creative with the system, and the ad gets served. All the reporting is in one place. It's almost as smooth a transaction because your billing is already associated to that account. That is what is pushing display advertising forward, and increasingly you'll see a lot of these buys that will happen through programmatic advertising. What's also nice about programmatic is it does not stop itself with just auction buy like a network, but you can also go ahead and have a reserve buy with a publisher. That if you see when you bought through a network, the ads were performing really well, and if you let's go talk to Times of India, you can say, hey, Times of India, could you come in through the system that we are using for buying ads? And if they sign up, you're already there, and it's just a question of sharing one deal ID, and you can do reserve buy with them as well. So it consolidates.
Can I stop you for a minute?
Yeah.
Your voice is suddenly reduced. Yeah, it's back now, I think.
Okay, sorry. I'm just going to quickly repeat the last sentence that I said. So, programmatic does not only limit itself with auction buy, but it also goes a little ahead and lets you do one deal with a publisher, or let's say a publisher is interested in opening his inventory to only to a certain set of advertisers, not for everybody. Even those kind of advanced functionalities exist today with programmatic. What you can see as advertisers and publishers being able to consolidate all of their ad purchasing or ad selling in one UI, and that's the value add. That's the biggest value add that programmatic brings in, and therefore it's something that is here to stay for the long haul. Right? We go a little deeper into this. At the heart of programmatic, and this is again on the auction side, not on the reserve side, is what we call real-time bidding. So I'll share the deck with you guys so you can go through this in detail. But essentially, what happens is there are all of these demand-side platforms that we spoke of, which is like the broker into the stock exchange, will get a signal from an ad exchange saying, hey, listen, we have this inventory that's opening up. This is as you are opening your website. Let's say you're going to one of the website and you're just loading that page. And as you're loading a page, imagine at the back end a huge notification that goes to all of the brokers that saying, hey, we are opening up this inventory. It's almost like an IPO stock launch day. So, and suddenly everybody wants to buy, and all the brokers are ready to buy, and they wait and see what kind of signals or what kind of let's say what business is this particular IPO about, and then they look at almost 40 signals, including which geography you're from, which device you're from, what sort of an ad slot is this? What is the audience breakup? Are they what income group they fall under? There could be numerous such signals. Close to 40 to 45 signals are provided, and based on the signal and the likelihood that you will meet your marketing objective, a certain bid is provided for that one auction, right? And imagine all of this happens within 100 milliseconds. And this is happening every single time a publisher inventory is being loaded. Right? So this real-time bidding is happening billions of times as we talk across the internet. And each of them is taking 100 milliseconds for it to serve an ad. From the time the page loads to the time the page has completed loading, where you're looking at the content, all of this has happened. It's probably reached out to let's say 20 brokers, and the brokers have seen that they have about 150 each advertisers, and all of their ads are ranked, all of their bids are there, and eventually one advertiser wins or two advertisers win and the ads appear. So all of this happens at 100 milliseconds, and it's a unique bid every time a publisher page is loaded. And that's why it's real-time bidding. There's nothing static about it. And bid is done based on the advertiser's marketing objective. If you say if you have a CPC goal, or whether if you have a CPC is per click, if you have a cost per acquisition goal, or if you have a CTR goal, sometimes advanced, you can have a return on investment goal and things like that. Based on the likelihood that you will achieve your goal, the algorithm will decide how much to bid on. and eventually get you there. If you don't win it, you have another slot. Sometimes the algorithm may decide not to bid in the first place because it does not match the criteria that you're looking for. Right? So that's real-time bidding. So increasingly, you guys, if you are involved in the display advertising, these are two terms that you'll continue to hear, which is programmatic, which is automating of everything and making life consolidated and easy for publishers and advertisers. And you have real-time bidding, which is using about 40 to 45 signals through a demand-side platform or a broker, as they call it, and bidding for every single auction, depending on all the signals you have to get your marketing objective, right? And all of this is in under 100 milliseconds. That's the most fascinating part about real-time bidding. We'll just look at one thing that's happening as a trend, and therefore this is saying, right, and the advertisers will follow where the users are. And if I tell you where the users are, they are on social networks, they are on messaging services, and in most cases they are watching videos. Watching videos is one of the biggest activities that's happening today on the internet, right? Watching and sharing videos, and videos are becoming more and more powerful. And for own reasons, right? It's just much easier to consume a video than to consume any other type of information. All of us may not like reading, but all of us do like watching videos. And short videos are the trends. Anything that's less than 7 minutes is where the biggest volume of videos that is being uploaded to YouTube and to a lot of other sites as well. So video is the in thing, and in-stream videos, that is typically your TV advertising, is showing a video ad in front of the content is the biggest source of branding these days. And one of the things that I really like about what Google has done with video advertising, especially in stream, is a true view advertising, which is if you don't like the video in the first 5 seconds or the ad in the first 5 seconds, you can feel free to skip it, and nobody has to worry about it. If it's skipped, it's irrelevant for the consumer, and therefore the consumer is happy and he can go watch this video. If the consumer or the user skips the video, the advert doesn't have to pay for it because the consumer clearly said, "I'm not interested." So the advertising only when the user watches the video, and it's a brilliant user experience. I know a lot of you guys are annoyed when you can't skip videos. I myself am a big I have internal discussions and fights as to why we allow some of the non-skippable ads and continue to see if we can get more skippable ads out there and make those ads more relevant to you. So you should realize that the future is going to be a lot of users in public or in private watching videos, and video should be a critical part. Video advertising should be a critical part of your digital marketing strategy. One of the most important or emerging video creative is what is called as an engagement ad, where based on the user engagement, it could be click to expand or a hover to expand or a mouse over or a rollover on a mobile device, and then the video plays, right? And you can mute the video, you can play wherever you want on the video, and then you can click through the video and go to the site or go to YouTube to watch more videos. So a video strategy is as critical when you think of as a comprehensive display advertising strategy, and this is only going to increase. The other trend on display that we've seen is this proliferation of n number of devices within a home. It's highly likely that all of us already have 2, if not 3 devices, and we use them interchangeably. It's very rare if you're now watching a TV without a device in your hand. And as much as our partners hate it, as much as our parents hate it, it's just become a behavioral trait to consume something along with a TV screen. either play a game or chat with somebody or do something on a network or read about something you just saw on the TV. It's information at your hand. It's also distraction at your hand. But fortunately, unfortunately, that's the consumer behavior that we're talking about, and therefore we should be very aware of this trend, especially if a product that you are offering has got a buying cycle. Let's take a few examples here. If you're talking about a product like an e-commerce retailer who is selling shoes, probably doesn't have that big a purchase funnel from the decision making or from the time you assess that you have a need for buying a shoe, or sometimes it could even be impulsive. You don't have a need, but you just buy it because you like it. To the eventual time when you buy it could actually be anywhere between 2 minutes to say a max of 1 week uh, time. But if you're buying, let's say, a used car, you're talking about a time period of 6 months before you eventually buy the used car. And if you have to really, if you, let's say, Dr. Cars or something like that, who has to sell the used car, you need to be there, and they are considering all of the multiple decisions. For example, should I buy a sedan, or should I buy an SUV, or should I buy a hatchback? Should I then actually go back and decide which year or which make of the car? So should I decide what version should I buy, a diesel or should I buy a petrol? There are so many things that they decide before they eventually say, okay, this is the car that I want to buy, and this is the make, this is the year, this is the brand, and this is the. So by the time they come to the decision, it's almost 6 months, and you need to be there wherever they are doing this research, whether they're doing it in the tablet or in the mobile phone or in their desktop, office desktop or home desktop, wherever they're doing it. You as a marketer should be there to guide them through the process. And that's the only way you can acquire customers and continue to keep them engaged. If you lose them at one point on a certain device, somebody else is going to take over from there and guide them from there. That's something that you did not have to worry about in the past, because we probably had one office machine and one home desktop with a dial-up connection or a broadband connection, and life was simple. Whatever we had to research was one of these two, and therefore it was easy. No longer. And this is where the biggest complexity is. If you think of, this is the India trend, and this is from Mary Meeker's presentation. When Mary Meeker talks about internet, she's probably got the holy grail of what is the future on internet, and almost 25% of her discussion this year were on mobile, and were on growing countries. And if you notice, there's India everywhere. So internet has gone mobile, India has gone mobile. There is a group of audience we're talking about, teenagers to almost 25, 26 years old people, where their only device to access internet is a mobile phone. Sometimes it's scary. If I were trying to have this conversation with an advertiser and tell him, hey, listen, you have a huge set of audience who are buying or who are doing all that they do on the internet through the small screen, 4-inch screen, sometimes even 3.5 or 3.75 inch, sometimes 6. How are you going to make it easy for them, accessible for them? Right? And there are so many challenges that come because these are not very good connection. Things can fall off in between very fast. So your website or your app has to be extremely fast. The user experience needs to be really, really good on a mobile device, and therefore you cannot have multiple that you have on your website, desktop website, on your mobile phone. If you tell them there are 7 steps on a mobile phone, they are not going to do that. So those kind of things you'll have to think through when you are a marketer. On, am I doing the right thing on the mobile as well? How much of my audience is on the mobile device? And therefore, make that user experience really work for your clients. Now, I just want to take a minute here to talk about what are the different kind of user experience we have on mobile device. Is A, your desktop website loading on your mobile device as is, which is one of the most painful experience you can give to your user, right? And the second we're talking about is your mobile device or your mobile website will redirect to a mobile site, which is an M dot or a T dot or whatever, but the domain redirects, which is still reasonable, but it's a completely different site. So you have to track them separately. You have to make sure you redirect your ads properly on a mobile device and ensure that you're not wasting your money by giving a bad user experience on mobile devices for your consumers or for your audience. And the third is what we call a responsive design, where the website domain remains the same. It's just that your website is built in such a way that it automatically shows on all, automatically resizes itself, right? Whether it's a 7-inch screen or a 4-inch screen or a 13-inch screen, you don't have to worry about it. The website has got a responsive design, and that's probably the future. I don't see it being too far away where almost all the websites that we access will be a responsive design. It's a little expensive, but it's the best solution you can have for the proliferation of the different sizes of devices that we have today. And internet is growing really fast in India, which means more and more people are coming to the internet, not just from tier 1, tier 2. In fact, when we were recently doing an analysis for a couple of e-commerce clients in India, we realized that their best ROIs on online advertising was coming from tier 3 cities, which is a very positive trend. Another reason why tier 3 cities are probably going really haywire is some of these brands or some of these products that they are talking about on the internet is not even available in a store nearby or not accessible to them. And therefore, that's where internet really provides a huge advantage to consumers, which is also something should take advantage of. Okay, quickly, this is the last slide that I have, and then we can start jumping into all the questions that you guys have one at a time. This is the future of where the estimated investment in display advertising is going to go. If you are a marketer, you should pay close attention to this, because this is where all the new technology for advertising or all the new providers for advertising platform will evolve from. Most of the advertising is going to remain in the performance criteria, which is what we call real-time bidding, which is performance-driven advertising. So 30% of the advertising dollars will go into performance advertising, which is your RTB, and it is going to continue to grow. And then you have the other 30 to 40%, which is under reserve buy or direct deal. I spoke about recently about I spoke about demand side platforms. These demand side platforms actually will let you do both RTB and direct deals through their UI in the one consolidated way. And that's why programmatic is so critical for the future of display advertising. And you're talking about being able to buy ads on all devices, buy ads, all type of ads, regular ads, engagement ads, video ads, mobile size ads, all of that through one UI. And then you also have the premium display ad buying, which is TV sponsorships and sponsorships and TV ads or your commercials being extended display advertising and on the internet. That's a premium inventory we're talking about, and the cream of the advertisers or publisher inventory being available for display. And the size is increasing. If you notice today, almost 75%, today easily, I think about 50% of the ad spending is going into TV sponsorships and things like that, which is non-programmatic. In almost 2 to 3 years, we're expecting 75% of the investment to come into RTB space and programmatic space of online display advertising. So it's very exciting times. A lot of new players are doing amazing job. What we've also seen is a few of these demand side platforms also offering programmatic television ad buying, which is super cool, right? Imagine you being able to do your display advertising, do your video advertising, mobile advertising, and TV advertising from one UI. I'm really excited about all of the way the evolution are happening, and it's good if you are in the online advertising space, and especially on the display side of things. It's a great time to see products evolve at that speed and see how advertisers are benefiting from it and consumers are benefiting from it. But the last message I want to leave you with is when such technologies come in and when such opportunities come in, as marketers, we become greedy to try and reach as much as we can, try to get as best ROI or try to get greedy on how much more can I get for the small amount that I'm investing. The holy grail of internet advertising is in relevance, right? Even if you have to pay a little more for the relevance of your ad, even if it means narrowing down and reaching lesser people to make your ad more relevant, that is where the real performance lies in. Not in how many audience you reach at or how cheap a price you reach in. Those are compromises that you are making. What we actually recommend is keep your ad quality really high, make it as clear as it can for your audience, and then keep it as relevant as it is. Right? The more the relevance, the better the performance of your display ads. With that, I'm not sure my screen is hanging a little. Are you guys still able to hear me? Okay, perfect. So with that, I'm actually just going to stop. I think we're on time. We can take a few questions. Kapil, how do we do? Okay. Yeah, if you can tell me what questions, because I don't know, I'm a little lost on the chat side. I don't know how many questions have already gone by. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's actually very easy. If it's search, then it means people outside of your region are searching for those keywords you put in with the region tag. That is something we call as query parsing, and still valuable because I could be traveling to Bangalore, but I'm a person resident in Hyderabad, and I'm right now while traveling trying to find something for my home. So that's query parsing, and that's why you're seeing some ads out there. And on the display side, if you go to campaign settings, there are two options on targeting people. Is do I target people exclusively from that location, or do I target people who are searching from searching for that location? All you need to do is tweak that according to your needs, and you would be able to limit it. So if you just want people only from your location, there is an option available in campaign settings. Just choose that and you should be good. Yes, display network also has the same setting. So you can just say, I want people only from the location and not necessarily looking for that location, things like that. So that setting is applicable for both networks. Again, so with the current keyword, we have what we call as a max CPC. So we have multiple type of bidding inside AdWords. We have max CPC, we have eCPC, we have conversion optimizer. The conversion optimizer is actually a real-time bidder limited to Google Display Network. Max CPC and eCPC are static bids, meaning you cannot, the bid into every auction is almost the same. And the biggest difference between a real-time bidding is that it is unique for every single auction. Conversion optimizer does that. So in a sense, conversion optimizer is a real-time bidder, but it's restricted only to Google Display Network. A full-blown RTB is not only restricted to a network, but across all exchanges. That's the key difference. So I'm assuming this is you as a user. You are seeing an increased number of ads from these sites. Is that correct? Yeah. If that's the case, then there is the non-cookie based browsing. If you don't like those sites following you, the best thing to do is use those sites in incognito mode. Then an incognito mode is a cookie-free mode. Whichever site you think is following you, you just have to use those sites in incognito and your regular browsing on the other side. So as a user, that's the only option you have. Or you can disable websites from dropping cookies altogether, which means that you would never see any remarketing ad or interest-based ad. Okay. So this has increasingly been a challenge. I have, in fact, in the past worked with a few real estates. Again, real estates and advertisers. The only thing is it requires a lot of patience because real estate is extremely one of those long purchase funnel. It can vary anywhere between 3 months to almost 9 months of a time before a purchase actually happens from the time the interest, and you cannot expect an immediate return. So what's critical is also for you to track the conversions properly. For example, on a mobile, it's just expressing interest and giving them your phone number or something like that, so you can follow it offline. But on a desktop, you can actually show them the location, show them the plot, and then eventually ask them to sign up for that particular plot, so you have more information. It's also mobile as a website using hyperlocal. That's something that's worked really well for some of the advanced advertisers. Is mobile knows your location really well. If somebody is, for example, searching for a plot or for a house to buy, you should be able to naturally zoom in or provide houses that are extremely close by to the places that they are on. And that those are the couple of trends that we've seen um, in real estate. In terms of advertising, also, if you notice, we have location-based advertising and really narrow targeting. So you should really make use of that. And if they're bidding from mobile devices, which is where highly likely when they're searching for from a location for a house there or for a plot there, you should ensure that you win that auction at any cost. So we have mobile bid adjustments inside AdWords, which we extensively use for real estate, and also locations adjustment, wherein whichever location has provided you the best returns in terms of online advertising, you should make sure you win every single auction in those locations. So location bid adjustments, mobile bid adjustments are something that you should be really looking at in terms of advertising. Website, how do you, this is a discussion you may need to have with your IT team, is how do we make hyper-local, experience possible? How do we, through an app or through a website, figure out where they are right now on their mobile device, and then try and show the properties or the plots that are really, really relevant and close to that location. The more better you get to the location, the better it's going to convert. And also be patient. And this is something that, as much as we reiterate, it's difficult when you look at a quarter-to-quarter result. But some of these can actually go over 90 days. From the time of purchase to the end, and most of the cookies expire at 30 days. So eventually a person may have converted from online visit, but because the cookie has expired in the default 30-day, you do not have information to track back. So if you have an internal methodology to track between the lead that came in and the source to actual conversion, you will be able to attribute the value of that particular much better. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, I mean, this is a big challenge that we've always faced with our regular advertisers as well, right? The quality of the leads. And most likely it's because your targeting is not right or your ad creative is not giving the right USP to your users. See, let's think of it. If somebody is searching on Google, they know what they're looking for. They want it right now, right? It's very simple that way. And the more specific their keywords are, the more likely they're going to convert immediately. And that's why search still is the best source for new customer acquisition and for sales. If you think of display, you have to ensure that you, as much as you are targeting the right audience, remember that the audience on that page is there for a reason, for the ad, right? And that's something we fail to bring into perspective, because that audience is reading something or watching something and the ad is intruding, and highly likely that you are reaching out to them when they are doing something else and not necessarily immediately interested in it. And that's where the quality of the leads may become an issue, because the person could be interested but not right now. Hey, I found this amazing let's say a home decor item which I'm probably interested in, but not high on the priority list. But compare that to a person who's actually searching for a home decor item. He wants it right now. So, and it's probably not as much an issue of low quality lead, but it's the immediacy of the conversion which shows it as a low quality lead, because you're expecting a click through conversion from a display ad. And that's not probably the best way to measure it. There are, for example, of YouTube conversion. How many of them actually saw the ad, maybe clicked on it or did not click on it, but later on came to convert through probably an organic site and things like that. That's one way of measuring if the display ads have been impactful. There's also the other way of looking at display ads have this huge impact on increasing your brand awareness. And on the internet, the best way to assess if your brand awareness has improved is by how many direct visits you have and how many brand searches you have. So if you've run a display campaign, which is a huge investment, you want to make sure that that has given an uptick in the number of people who have directly visited your site and directly searched for your site. Even if there's a marginal increase in those visits, and you can still attribute a certain percentage of those conversions through the impact of your display ads. I think it's as much as a question of being able to wait a little longer on the display leads, and also being able to attribute a certain other impact that display ads can bring in on your brand, which measurements are not very reflective today, because we go by last click conversion, and that's where all these issues come up. Yes, it has a long funnel. You should not treat display ads the way you treat search ads, except when you're doing a dynamic remarketing ad. That's the only case I would recommend you to look at it as just like a search ad. There are going to be multiple type of ad formats that will continue to evolve. If you're interested to see some of the rising ad formats, you should go to iab.net. That's where all the rising ad formats exist. So one of the rising ad that we have is the YouTube Masthead, which has pretty much all the functionalities. You want a static banner, you have a static banner. You want a rich media ad where you can interact and play a game, you can do that as well. You can watch a video inside that embedded. Increasingly, I think one of the biggest revelation for me, I don't know if a lot of you have seen a Coke ad where you can actually just push a button, and that button will eventually, there's a kiosk in some other part of the world, and if you want to give somebody a Coke, You can just click on the ad and say which place and say yes, give a Coke to the person. Whoever is standing at the kiosk will actually get a free Coke right there as a gift from you. That was one of the trials that happened, which I thought was fantastic because as much as it is a promotional event, the ability of what an ad can do in technology starts coming in. Is your ad actually can go back, talk to a system, and that system can talk to a device, and the device can actually release something. It is mind-boggling when you think of such capacities that are coming up. But in terms of the innovations, I think considering a lot of advertisers are going on devices which are touch-based, you're going to see a lot of those touchscreen-based ad evolutions that are happening. And on top of it, as much as the devices have changed, the way we use these devices and consume information has changed, the ad formats have not evolved at the same pace. We are still looking at standard banner ads and interstitial ads that come inside, and the ad experience is probably not as good as it's on a desktop. So there will be a lot of innovation on touchscreen based ads. For example, an ad can come and you may maybe swipe to the right if you want to show interest, or swipe to the left if you want to disapprove or say this ad is not relevant for you. Things like that are going to come. One of the things that I'm really excited about is not a lot of advertisers or publishers have a website that works well with touch, and we've seen a lot of new companies coming up with these ads which can act as websites themselves, right? It's got so much potential. Then you can click on the ad, you can choose the product that you like and order it right from there, and then it will do your transaction. So I'm seeing that the ad is going to become a micro website. And the day that becomes that, and along with the ad giving you a full touchscreen experience, I think that's where we can really say that the display ad of the future has arrived. Hmm? Yeah. So